Dodge this.
This is Sparta!
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Say hello to my new friend! Say what again?
I'm gonna make him an offer, Captain.
Voice is strong.
You talking to me?
Ladies and gents, welcome to the 8th episode of the BTG MovieCast. My name is Steven.
My name is Dean.
And we are your hosts for this monthly podcast where we discuss all things film. We do reviews, we do analysis, we do news, and yeah, we do stuff. Awesome
Yeah,
stuff.
we also rhyme unintentionally there.
Too.
Nice one, Nagel.
Thank you very much. So yeah, like as we mentioned in the previous podcast, which came out not too long ago, we are doing a double episode for September because we missed out on our August podcast.
Yeah, and we feel really bad about that, guys.
Yeah, but we are working on a global collaborative feature film called Breathe Easy.
Absolutely.
You can follow it on Twitter with the hashtag Breathe Easy 2016.
Yeah, check it out, guys. There's a lot of good things happening all across the world with that one.
Yep, and it's so good, and we are very proud to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
So that's been keeping us busy, but we are back at it again with some more analysis. So today we have a pretty cool lineup. So Dean, let the peeps know what's up.
Absolutely. So today's podcast will be about Noem My Skollie, or Call Me Thief, which is a local film. And by local, obviously means South African film, because we're, from South Africa. It's a film that's recently gained a lot of exposure on the national market. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. And we'll also be talking about Deus Ex Machina, which for those of you unaware about what it is, it's basically when a character in a film or series finds himself in a situation that is pretty much quite daunting, and then they have a saving grace and something comes out of nowhere and rescues them. So it happens quite often in film and TV, and we'll be talking about some examples and looking at the actual, the device itself.
Yeah.
So that's the podcast agenda for today.
So yeah, if you guys missed our previous podcast, episode 7, you can catch that at btglifestyle.com. And what we discussed there was basically Stranger Things Season 2. And we also discussed
The Night Of.
We did a bit of an analysis of that series. So yeah, check that out at btglifestyle.com. Cool. Let's get straight into it. Noem My Skollie.
Or Call Me Thief. Basically, the film is about a young man named Abraham who gets arrested because of a petty crime. And basically, his status in prison is that of a storyteller. He captivates the hardened gangsters with his knack for storytelling, which is also, a really unique story. And it's based on a true story, that of John W. Fredericks, who's obviously the screenwriter. And the film is by Darren Joshua, who's a young director as well. And it stars Dan Jacques Mouton, who plays Abraham, and his love interest in the film, Kitty, is played by Sandy Schultz. So yeah, it's a local film. It's apparently the largest cast of coloured actors in a single film with national distribution, which is great for the coloured community. Us, of course, being coloureds and aspiring screenwriters and directors, we found that this film is quite important, and it will put quite a few young filmmakers on the map as well. Yeah. So it's going to do well, but obviously coming back to the story itself, it's focusing on, a very important story in that it focuses on gangsterism, but also the upliftment of storytelling and how it can actually, it's a universal thing. Sure. You know what I mean? It's something
and
that...
How good storytelling can help you transcend kind of the limitations placed on you. Because the story is based in the 60s.
Yeah.
And that is like during the apartheid era.
Yeah.
Apartheid was in full swing. And if you don't know what apartheid is, then
Yeah.
I don't know, like, who are you?
Who are you, man?
But it was basically the regime in South Africa since 1948, if I'm not mistaken, whereby there was racial discrimination was institutionalized in our country, in South Africa. Yeah, like, it was super hectic for people of color.
Yeah.
And yeah, this tells a story that kind of happens in the thick of apartheid, so it's quite hectic.
Absolutely, and it's a film that we have seen the trailer for, and it looks quite intense. It definitely looks like something that is going to help South African cinema. In recent years, obviously, there's been a couple of local films that have come out. I mean, you think of Four Corners.
Yeah.
There's also Zulu, where that was shot here. They had largely South African cast. Obviously, they had Orlando Bloom and Forrest Whitaker in it. But, it's doing wonders in terms of the film industry, especially locally.
Sure. And then there was also Tsotsi, obviously.
Tsotsi as well, with Gavin Hood. Yeah, back in the day. So
I mean, the slight criticism that a lot of this is getting is the fact that all of these films that are kind of getting international acclaim and so on, and exposure, all focus on very kind of negative elements of society, like gangsterism and violence and AIDS. And, so I think that is a fair criticism, but at the same time, that is kind of like very much a part of the narrative of South Africa, and it's pointless we kind of gloss things over and make as if those problems don't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's often out of great strife and struggle that the best stories are kind of born.
For sure.
Because, I mean, who wants a story about like a bunch of people living normally? Yay!
Yay!
It's not a Richard Linklater film.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Richard Linklater.
Yeah, look, a bunch of people living normally. But yeah, no, I'm not hating on Linklater. He's a brilliant filmmaker. But I just think like those are various things that make unique South African stories, and I think the fact that this story kind of transcends the violent and negative backdrop that it's happening on, it's pretty amazing, and it's a pretty captivating thing to watch, and I think audiences all over South Africa and the world will really enjoy it.
Absolutely.
I think it's also amazing, like, because myself and Dean, we identify as colored people as well.
Yeah.
So it's something that we are really proud of, and seeing these advancements by colored people in the film industry is something really to kind of look up to and to aspire to.
Sure.
Very recently, another colored man was on the world stage, winning the 400-meter sprint at the Olympic Games, which was Wade van Niekerk.
Yeah.
And there was a massive debate on Twitter as to whether he should be classified as colored or not. And I mean, we don't want to get too political on the whole thing, but it's like, it's a big win for colored people when we finally get to claim positive stories about our people, because so much of the time we are reduced to negative stereotypes.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, this is something that I'm really looking forward to. Might go check it out really soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We've heard that it's been playing Cinema Nouveau, also the VNA, for those in the Cape Town sort of area. We're not too sure about the widespread distribution, but check your local listings and it should be available.
Yep. They're also on Twitter. So check them out on Twitter, and maybe you can just ask any questions about where your nearest screening is. Yeah. And yeah, just keep an eye out for updates.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's Noem My Skollie, or Call Me Thief, which is being released at the moment.
It's coming out on the 2nd of September. Yeah. So by the time you guys are listening to this, it will already be out.
Correct.
We are actually recording this right at the beginning of the month. Yeah. Just FYI.
Yeah, exactly. Just so everyone's on the same page. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Cool. So that's Noem My Skollie, or Call Me Thief.
Yeah. So the bulk of our discussion today is going to be about Deus Ex Machina, which I did explain previously in the intro for this podcast.
Yeah. And he touched on it in the last podcast. We called it Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah. Well, what ifs, Nagel? Jeez.
Okay, I'm
making
done.
Fun of me for not pronouncing something.
I'm done.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Deus Ex Machina, just to touch on it again, is when a character finds himself in a terrible situation and then gets some sort of saving grace out of nowhere, which, could be seen as a bit of a crutch. As screenwriters ourselves, we don't particularly just prescribe to like lazy screenwriting. Yeah, it's one of those things where sometimes you'll box yourself in. You'll be telling a story, and you get away with it. You get away from yourself, and then you find that the character is in a kind of tough spot, and you write you come up with this device that could save them and ultimately have the happy ending that you pretty much want your audience to have. Yep. So we thought of a couple of examples of some mainstream movies that have used this device.
And a TV show
and
as well.
a TV show as well, yeah. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it misses. More often than not, it misses.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about a few of them. Nagel, do you have any that you want to bring into the discussion?
Okay, so I think one of the big ones, and if you look around the internet, you'll find it on a lot of lists out there. It's War of the Worlds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that great old bacteria. That
Well, to be fair, this is how it was originally written. If I'm not mistaken, War of the Worlds was a radio show initially, and it was adapted into a TV series or something later on, and then eventually into the film. This is it's canon that it happens that way. But essentially what happens is, at the peak of kind of the destruction of humankind, when, War of the Worlds, what happens? Alien invasion.
Yeah.
Destroying the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the film, it follows Tom Cruise's character, which is the guy that's trying to save his daughter or something.
Oh, he's always saving someone, and he's always running
some kid or
all
whatever.
the time.
Yeah, he runs a lot in this film. But then eventually what happens is, like, at the peak of the invasion where, you know, all hope is lost.
Yeah.
Suddenly the aliens, giant machines that were harvesting human people, they just kind of stop working.
Yeah.
And then when like soldiers breach into these capsules and whatever, they find out that the aliens are inside, like, basically have super flu and are dying. And the reason for that is that the aliens, by coming into our atmosphere, they got exposed to the bacteria in our atmosphere, and they were not immune to it.
Yeah.
They didn't have any immunities, or it didn't work with the immune system that they had. The foreign alien immune system couldn't cope with our atmosphere.
They were all bubble boys, basically.
Yeah,
Shout out to
exactly.
Jake and Gyllenhaal.
You see, so that's why when we go into space, we wear suits.
Yeah, exactly.
Dumbass aliens.
Noob aliens.
So yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of like, you know, you see this character run through all these hoops, making these near misses, and then when all hope is lost, like, there's not some major standoff or anything. It's just kind of, the aliens died of natural causes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what?
What is that?
So that's like a really kind of anticlimactic thing.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think to a certain extent, Deus Ex Machinas are all kind of anticlimactic in the sense of they are kind of a cheat code. They're almost just like, oh, this happened because we needed to wrap up the story.
Yep.
So we'll just, and sometimes it might be implausible. Sometimes it will just not fit into the story at all. But it happened, and that's exactly what we're dealing with now.
Yep.
I mean, another example for my Harry Potter fandom out there, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. That was the second story in the series, and basically Harry Potter's going up against a giant snake, a basilisk, which is pretty much got him like.
I thought you said a giant Snape.
It's funny because he's also in there and he's also pretty tall. Anyway, so essentially he goes up against this snake that has got him like pretty much pinned down. Like he's worse for wear.
Fucks up his arm.
Yeah, he's just straight up he's like straight up killing him.
Dead, basically.
And out of nowhere, Fawkes the Phoenix comes and brings the Sorting Hat, who then gives him the Sword of Gryffindor, and that's just game changer right there. And also, how on earth did that series of events happen? It's because Harry needed it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Fawkes just came out of nowhere like Randy Orton with an RKO.
RKO! The Sword of Gryffindor!
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, so that was kind of convenient to the extent of like
proverbial RKO.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, because Harry needed that to happen, and even in the third story, Prison of Azkaban, you know, there's also a device in there, the Time Turner.
Yeah.
Which ultimately rectifies the whole story in terms of using time travel.
Exactly. I mean, there was like literally no way out. Like they were, like. The Hippogriff was gonna die, and then Sirius was gonna get locked up.
Yeah.
And essentially, they just turned back time and made both those things not happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you know, that's that.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I'll give it's canon.
Yeah,
I'll give J.K. Rowling the benefit of the doubt that she does set those things up.
Yeah, she does.
like in Azkaban, she sets up the time turner because Hermione's obviously using it to get to her classes throughout the year.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
I would say. You know, just
it's like using performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still it's not okay that they kind of like solved the broader story arc through that. And then the same thing goes with Chamber of Secrets, because I mean Harry meets Fawkes in Dumbledore's office when he gets into trouble, and then Fawkes bursts into flames
and then rises from the ashes,
and then Harry's like all nervous and shit.
Yeah.
Very sweet moment between him and Dumbledore. But yeah, I mean it's set up by the author, but I just don't think it's okay for that to happen.
How did we come to the point of the sorting hat could give you things?
Yeah.
Like, how is it, like, I understand that magicians pull things out of hats. I get that. But at the same time, there was nothing about the sorting hat that made us believe that it could give you that.
I love the way J.K. Rowling writes.
Absolutely.
She's an amazing writer. She shows you the mind of the characters and the way they're thinking and all that. Yeah. But I do think a lot of the time, which I mean, I guess it's plausible because it's magic.
Yeah.
You know, it's magic.
Exactly.
And we're dealing with magic here. Like lots of things are possible, but often the explanations that she creates for certain things are kind of very convenient. Yeah. You know, it's very convenient that the Sword of Gryffindor is presented. Yeah. And the Sword of Gryffindor just so happens to be a weapon that can do these things that they needed to do. Of course. So, very convenient. But hey, I love the Harry Potter series.
Me too.
The books and the movies. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Also talking about some serious fandoms, we got to talk about The Lord of the Rings for a second. And basically, the Two Towers... We're talking about Gandalf. We're looking at you, Gandalf, and we're looking at all your eagles as well.
All your eagles.
Nagel hit them with the quote.
Yeah. So this one's not really directed at the eagles. It's in the Two Towers. It's the Battle of Helm's Deep, if I'm not mistaken. Gandalf basically leaves Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas to kind of like lead the fight with the king, and then he goes and he says to Aragorn, "Look to my coming at first light, on the 5th day. At dawn, look to the east."
Solid.
Ta-da! And then essentially what happens is Aragorn and them go to battle with the orcs and the Uruk-hai and whatever, and the battle's intensifying, and the assault is getting super heavy. Their people are dying. One orc shows up with a massive bomb and bombs that drain at the bottom of the wall. And everything's fucked. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, just as they're about to essentially lose the battle, the sun rises in the east. Yeah. And you look up that hill, and there stands Gandalf with his staff, and he raises it, and you see this flash of light, and him and the cavalry kind of like storm down the mountainside, and it's amazing imagery. It gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. Yeah. And they just basically wipe out all the orcs and that. Yeah. And it's intense cinema, but it's convenient as fuck. Yeah. And the thing is that Tolkien is actually known for this quite a lot, because I mean that's the one example. The other example is the eagles. Yeah. Twice Gandalf, the eagles just show up to Gandalf's help. Yeah. The one time is when he battles Saruman, and he's on top of that giant ass tower. Saruman is essentially pushing him off the edge, and then he jumps, and the eagle eagle shows up and takes him away. Yeah. And then right at the end as well, the eagles also help him out. So that's in the third film. I mean, I posted this meme on the BTG Lifestyle Instagram, which you should follow. Yeah. Where it says that it's Gandalf wearing the douchebag hat, and it says like can call the eagles or something, but makes everyone walk. So Gandalf's a bit of a douchebag because he has these awesome eagles. Like, why couldn't they just fly there and drop the ring in the fucking...
Exactly. Why is he being so shy with his eagles?
Yeah, man? Exactly. I mean, jeez. But yeah, like Lord of the Rings filled with that type of thing. Yeah. And then but as I said, Tolkien is known for that type of thing. There's another author, a very acclaimed author, who borrows a lot from Tolkien inspiration. Yeah. And that is George R.R. Martin. As you know, Game of Thrones, the acclaimed series on HBO, is based on George Martin's books. Correct. A Song of Ice and Fire. The next example for the Deus Ex Machina is another one that's very similar to the Helm's Deep battle that I mentioned. And it happens in the 9th episode of the latest season of Game of Thrones, which was season 6.
Correct.
Entitled Battle of the Bastards.
Sure.
So, Dean, do you want to explain what happens?
Absolutely, yeah. So, for those of you familiar with Game of Thrones, what happens is that Jon Snow, who was resurrected at the beginning of season 6, is also a notorious bastard son of Ned Stark, went up against old Ramsay Bolton, the uber creepy, uber douchebag king of the north,
violent,
uber violent,
uber
sadistic piece of garbage. But yeah, the two of them go head to head, and essentially a huge ass battle ensues. And Jon Snow does his valiant best, as you would expect him to do. He obviously, does his thing. All hope is pretty much lost because there's a part in the scene where he's literally suffocating, and you're kind of grasping for air with him because he's going up against this huge army that he has like no chance of going up against, or he shouldn't have a chance of winning.
Yeah.
And in steps in the cavalry to save him, Littlefinger, Sansa Stark.
Yeah.
And pretty much just
House Aaron
just comes to his rescue and levels the playing field.
Yeah.
Which, essentially comes out of nowhere. I don't think we expected, that to happen, especially people who aren't familiar with the intricacies of all the different houses.
Sure.
And the kind of treaties and those kind of things. So what we expected to happen was, for Jon Snow to maybe die a valiant death.
Yeah. It looked like he was going to die at some point, and this hasn't happened in the books.
Exactly, yeah.
So we haven't had a standoff between Jon and Ramsay. It seems to be building up to that point, but it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So we're not actually sure if this is something that... Because obviously George Martin is providing notes
Correct.
to the producers of Game of Thrones, and we're not sure if this is canon, essentially.
Yeah,
like this is how it's going to end up being in the books, or if this is something that was invented by the showrunners.
Yeah.
So if it was invented by them, then it's like a super hard Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
But if not, I'm really keen. I haven't read all the books.
Yeah.
I've read the first one. I'm really keen to see what the various differences are going to be between the books that come out henceforth, as well as the series, because there's only 2 seasons left.
Yeah.
At this point in time. Yeah, like that is that moment is very reminiscent of the Helm's Deep battle in the Two Towers.
Absolutely.
I think there was even a meme where they say Gandalf's lines and then it's actually Sansa and Littlefinger standing on top of the hill.
Yeah.
And not Gandalf. So yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. And super convenient, but that's what happens.
I think our last example of a Deus Ex Machina is possibly the most on the nose one.
Yeah. Yeah.
For obvious reasons, and it happens in the Matrix Revolutions. And the reason for that is that literally what happens is the machines are winning.
Yeah.
But then Neo ends up confronting the actual god of the machines.
Yeah.
Kind of like the basic, like Ground Zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the actual brain or being that is at the center controlling all of the machines in the world of the Matrix. He confronts this machine and has a conversation with it. And says, look here, there's this fucking anomaly, Smith, in the program that's fucking everything up. Send me there with my powers and shit to go and sort this shit out and iron out and return everything to normal. But at the same time, I need you to free everyone by destroying this matrix that has been created to kind of keep everyone asleep. So the first Matrix was so fucking groundbreaking.
Oh yeah.
On so many levels. It's amazing. People who love tech and philosophy loved it.
Yeah.
People who love social justice loved it because there's obviously that parallel to being woke or being awake to the reality.
Yeah.
And pulling the wool off your eyes. So there's lots of parallels to that type of thing. Just from a general storytelling point of view, from an action movie point of view, this was like, it was a home run on so many levels.
Yeah.
And then obviously the follow-ups were like kind of meh.
Yeah.
And then it just ended in this massive... It just fell flat at the end because of this literal Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
They basically took control from our protagonist who, by the end of the first the end of the first film, had kind of transcended his humanity.
Yeah.
You know? He was blind. He had lost the battle. He did his version of the spirit bomb. And it didn't work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then he has to rely on the thing that he was fighting.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
It's pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy. Yeah, so I mean, those are some of the more like popular Deus Ex Machinas that we've come across.
Yeah.
Obviously, let us know some of the examples that we might have missed, some of your favorite ones, whether you enjoyed it or whether you didn't.
Actually, I've got a bonus one for you guys.
Okay, let's hear the bonus one.
The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah. Let's take you all the way back to 1939.
I just gotta click my heels.
Oh, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah. Oh, damn. So, obviously, at the end of this, what happens is the Wicked Witch is about to burn the scarecrow, sets the scarecrow on fire. Dorothy tries to douse the fire with some water, which accidentally splashes onto the witch, who melts.
Yeah.
I'm melting! Obviously, that is a super famous line.
Yeah.
Delivered with excellence.
Of course.
But, geez, so convenient.
Yeah.
And so, not just convenient, but so contrived.
Yeah.
It's like, the water splashed on her by accident.
Yeah.
I guess what it achieves is it keeps Dorothy innocent.
It does.
Because it's like murder by accident.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it manslaughter?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very true.
We'd like openly judge a character, a protagonist who killed someone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Who killed the bad guy.
Yeah, there's still people who are debating whether or not Batman from Batman vs Superman was an actual good.
People.
Yeah, he was killing people. Is that who he is?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, we would judge Dorothy hard if she meant to do that.
Is Dorothy like more of an anti-hero than the Punisher?
Exactly. I mean, is she technically Scarface?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Click your heels twice and you're back in Colombia.
Yeah. Say hello to my little pail of water. Okay.
Cool. So that was the bonus one for you guys. The Deus Ex Machina in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Guys, it's been great. I had a lot of fun with this discussion.
Absolutely. Like we said, hit us up with some of your own examples. Some of the ones that you think are glaring versions of Deus Ex Machina, some that to this day pisses you off.
Yeah.
Or maybe some that you found quite interesting, or some that you didn't even realize were until someone else mentioned it. That's also a thing. So yeah, hit us up with some of those.
Or the ones that you maybe just forgive because you enjoy the story so much.
Exactly. I mean that is true as well. I mean a lot of the shows and movies that we've mentioned with Deus Ex Machinas are actually some of our favorite films and TV series. So
exactly,
we can be forgiven, or we can be forgiving for that.
Yeah.
I mean it's just one of those things,
True. Yeah, so guys, don't forget, this was part 2 of like a 2-part for this month. So check out the first part, part 7, our 7th installment in this podcast.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys enjoyed this. You can catch me on Twitter at TheSnagel, TheSnagel.
And you can catch me on Twitter at Dino15. That's at DEENO15.
Don't forget to follow our blog, btglifestyle.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, like our page, facebook.com/btglifestyle. You can check us out on Twitter at btglifestyle. And we are also on Instagram now.
Yay.
New Instagram account up and running. So just check out BTG Lifestyle on Instagram as well. Posting there as often as we can. Tag us if you see some cool pictures out there that you want us to repost. Or if you go see a movie, tag us and we might just repost that.
Absolutely. And if you're seeing Noem My Skollie, also hit us up on the blog and tell us what you think. We'll also be checking it out. Probably by the time this comes out, we would have checked it out. But we'd always love to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Cool. And thanks a lot for joining us, guys. And have an awesome one.
Yeah, peace.
Dodge this.
This is Sparta!
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Say hello to my little friend!